Hello, Nashville. You're listening to The Real Deal with Kim Hollingshead on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm a real estate attorney practicing in Nashville, Tennessee. I own a real estate law firm, Hollingshead and Associates, and also a title insurance company called Hollingshead Title. On The Real Deal, we talk about a wide variety of topics, including real estate, law, and finance. And we go over real court cases here on the show. And today's program is going to be one of those. Now, look, here's a fair warning. Today's episode might be heavy for some listeners. So take caution, but this is an important topic. It is really one that is very close to my heart personally. We are going to take today's show to talk about the Lindsay Clancy case and the consequences of over-medication and prescription psychiatric drugs, especially here in Tennessee. We're going to talk about what Tennessee needs to be doing differently and how to protect yourself if you ever find yourself in an unsafe situation. Let's review the facts of the case of Lindsay Clancy. She was a labor and delivery nurse, Daxbury, Massachusetts, and in January of 2023, she sent her husband, Patrick, to go pick up supper for her and her children. When he returned home, it was about 45 minutes later, and he found the whole house eerily silent. So he walked upstairs, he opened the door to the master bedroom, and he saw blood splattered everywhere, all over everything. He noticed that the window to the bedroom was open, so he walked over to the window, he looked out, and he found Lindsay face up, lying on the ground. Now, what I am going to describe next for everybody is going to be really graphic, so definitely take care if there are little ones who are listening. Lindsay, she ended up having deep cuts on both of her wrists and her neck. And not only that, but she was basically floating in and out of consciousness. Patrick asked her, where were the children? And she told him they're in the basement. On the 911 call that Patrick made, you can hear him screaming for several minutes after discovering his 3 babies. Cora was 5, Dawson was only 3, and baby Callan was just 8 months old. All 3 of the children were strangled by their mother. Now, Lindsay is permanently disabled. She broke her back, and so she will be in a wheelchair for the rest of her life. She and Patrick are divorced now, and Lindsay is on trial for the murder of her 3 children. The trial is expected to last around 6 to 8 weeks, and basically they just wrapped up week number 4 of the trial. Lindsay's lawyers have conceded to the fact that she did do it. Their argument is that she was over-medicated and she was in postpartum psychosis, and so she's not criminally responsible for these murders. This is a very sad situation. If the jury agrees, then she's going to go to a state mental health facility for the rest of her life, probably. But if she doesn't, she'll likely get life without parole. This is so sad, but there's definitely a piece of this record that most families in Tennessee are not going to hear, and this is the part that you guys really need to hear. It's not going to be making headlines. The truth is that she had 13 psychiatric medications prescribed to her in 4 months. That's not 13 refills. That's 13 different drugs. The Boston Globe actually went through the court records and counted that there were more than 30 separate prescriptions that were given to her between September of 2022 and January of 2023. Pills like Zoloft, which is an antidepressant, Seroquel, which is an antipsychotic, and they prescribed that at more than one dose. There was Valium, Klonopin, Ativan. These are 3 different kinds of benzodiazepines, very dangerous pills. Not only that, but also a mood stabilizer, which is called Buspirone. Benadryl was also even prescribed to her at a prescription strength to try to knock her out. She had complained that she wasn't sleeping. The record shows multiple Valium prescriptions written days apart at all different doses. So Patrick and Lindsay have decided to sue her providers, and good for them. I've read a lot of complaints in my career, but the language in this one is extremely precise. It actually alleges a, quote, disorganized, uncoordinated course of polypharmacy that precipitated a severe psychotic break. It alleged all of her doctors missed bipolar disorder with postpartum onset. Now, nothing in this episode is ever going to take away from the fact that Lindsay committed a very evil act. She killed her 3 children. She tried to kill herself. However, her own husband has stated that Lindsay absolutely adored her children, as she could not even stand to be apart from them for even a few hours. She was trying to figure out what was happening to her. The jurors have been shown a journal where she tracked her doses against her own state of mind, day by day. She called crisis lines. She checked herself into a psychiatric hospital. She went and asked for help more than once. And forensic testimony has established that the night that her children died, she had benzodiazepines and other psychiatric medications in her system. No drugs, no alcohol. Every substance in her body, somebody wrote a prescription for. So now look, I am not here to tell you that psychiatric medication is evil. It isn't. It keeps a lot of people alive. And I'm going to say that again multiple times before we're off the air today, that these drugs are not the failure. The system around her was the failure. For 4 months, 4 sets of prescribers, 30 different prescription drugs issued to her in the span of a year. And so whether or not she's criminally responsible, well, that's not for me to say. I'm not here on today's show to talk about that. What we're talking about today is about Tennessee and how our particular system is broken and how families in this state are paying a very heavy price for it. So don't go anywhere, because when we come back from the break, we're going to pick this story back up, and I'm going to share a little bit of my own personal story and how I have been personally affected by the over-medication of prescription drugs and what that did to me and my family. You guys, you're listening to The Real Deal on Super Talk. I would love to hear your feedback on this topic, by the way. Don't hesitate to give me a call. It's 615-257-0565. That's 615-257-0565. The reason why we're doing this show is because I want to bring attention to 2 different sides of this. Number one is going to be from Lindsay's point of view, and the other side is going to be for Patrick's point of view. And I mean, it's very sad on all sides, but we can take something that is so tragic and so terrible. And if there's even just one person who's listening today who can stop and think and do something differently, that's what it's all about, right? We're not here to just point fingers and judge other people, but we're here to say, hey, even if I don't have this specific situation happening in my life, is this going to give me a pointer or give me some information about an area of my life that I really need to pay attention to? So you're listening to The Real Deal on Super Talk, you guys. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.